I'll be your net controller for the first portion of tonight's East Coast Reflector Tech Net. And Roger will be bringing up the second half with text check-ins and regular check-ins. Tonight's general question for everybody is, how many different call signs have you had? How many different call signs have you had? I think it'll be the Swap and Shop with Kevin, VE3BZ. Go ahead, Kevin.
Thank you, Kev, and good evening, everyone. This is Kevin, VE3BZ, with tonight's Swap and Shop. And I only have one short listing tonight, and it's a want from Pete, KB2DY in Amityville, New York. Pete is looking for a 935 B or C model loop antenna. If you can help Pete out, send him an email at dypete@aol.com. That's dypete@aol.com. And he's good on QRZ in case you didn't get that. KB2DY. And that's all I have. If you have anything that you would like to list, just go to coastreflector.com, click on Contact ECR, and SwapNet submissions, or just me at v3bz@rogers.com. And the question of the night, I have had and I currently have 2 call signs. All right, thank you very much, Kevin. Back to you, V3BZ.
Seven-three, Kev. Thanks for keeping that in order every week. All right, happy to say that we have Charles back with the Tech Talk this evening. Charles, KC6UFM. This is KE7K. Go ahead.
Good evening, Kevin, and everyone on the TechNet. This is Charles, KC6UFM, and I am very happy to be back, feeling much better. Thank you for all the well wishes from those out there in radio land. It's been very hot here in beautiful downtown Guatai today, but as far as the question is concerned, this is the only call sign I have had. I kind of take the approach of, to paraphrase Major Payne, if the FCC had wanted me to have a different call sign, they'd have issued me one. So I like this one, staying with it, and plus I got a whole bunch of stuff here with that call sign printed on it, so it would cost me a whole bunch of money to change. So I'm just going to stick with this. But in any event, this evening I wanted to spend a few minutes talking about a question that almost all hams come up at one point or another, especially new hams, and that comes down to how I can hear the vocal repeater crystal clear, full quieting, no static, nothing, but I can't get into it, and everybody tells me that I'm noisy. Why does that happen? And the problem is, we think of radio as a two-way street. So you get signal going one direction, it should be good going the other direction. But that's not the case. The problem is it's actually kind of a one-way street, at least to the extent that one direction will be a superhighway, and the other direction will be more like an old country back road made out of dirt and rock. So, we're going to talk just a little bit about that without getting into the physics, which that's the real problem. And kind of think of it as David and Goliath. Let me reset here. Yeah, if you think of it as David and Goliath. You've got the picture. The repeater is Goliath. Repeaters are typically up at a high altitude, high elevation compared to most of the users. The repeater has, typically a very expensive, high-performance antenna, usually made for commercial service as opposed to ham radio service. It's fed with extremely low cable, typically hard line, and it may be transmitting 100 watts or more. So it's way up there and puts out a heck of a big signal. On the other hand, your radio is more like David. Most hams today start off with an HT. That was not always the case, but HTs have gotten very reasonably priced, some down into the range you would call cheap. So most hams start off with an HT today. So, you're sitting there with 5 watts, maybe 8. There's a few of them that have 10, but a whole lot less power. And also, if your battery goes low, the HT will start folding back the power to try and save the battery. So you may have the 8-watt radio, but it may only be putting out a watt because of your battery. And then you have the rubber ducky antenna. You're in a house surrounded by walls, insulation, concrete, maybe some lath with wire in it, chicken wire or something like that. So your signal does not get out very well, and that creates an asymmetry. The repeater has everything going for it, and your HT doesn't have much of anything happening. But that's what's killing. But there are 3 things to keep in mind when it comes to doing this, and that is, the rubber ducky. Get rid of that thing. Get a decent antenna, and something that will help you out there. We're going to talk more about that in just a moment. Okay. The other thing is you're going to have a lot more line of sight obstructions. Because you're low, there might be a little hill between you and the repeater. Might be a big grove of trees, and if they're wet, it's worse. Maybe a row of apartment buildings or something like that between you and the repeater's site. The repeater has enough power to get multipath around those, where the signal starts bouncing around and getting reflected by this stuff, but it eventually gets to your antenna on your HT, so it doesn't sound too bad. Your little HT with 5 or 10 watts is not going to be able to do that. And then, as I mentioned, there is the low battery power drop. Most HTs, and this includes Baofangs, as the battery starts getting low, it will start rolling back the power automatically. And you won't even know it's doing it. You think that you're on high power putting out 5 watts. But because your battery is low, your Baofang may only be putting out half a watt. So keep that in mind as well. And there are some very easy fixes for these 3 things. The first one is what I like to call get out and get up. Basically, go outside. Move close to a window, especially if that window faces the repeater. Elevate your radio if you can, maybe a foot or 2. Hold it up in the air. That'll help. Get away from concrete walls or lath and plaster, that sort of thing, to where you can get a little bit better signal out. That can make the difference between a scratchy, unreadable signal and something that is at least readable, maybe even full quieting. Number 2, upgrade the antenna. Get rid of that rubber duck. Get an aftermarket whip, something like Nagoya or a signal stick, something of that nature. If you're transmitting from out of your car using your HT as a mobile, pick up a cheap mag mount antenna. Stick that on the roof of the car and plug that into your HT. It will help tremendously. and then check your power settings. Make sure you didn't actually switch over to low power. A lot of people will do that and not be aware of it. Reset. Okay, and just to kind of sum everything up here, just because you can hear the repeater and hear it well does not mean that you will be able to access that repeater and be heard well. And as an aside, it's this phenomenon, this asymmetry, that creates a lot of interference on local repeaters and even here on the East Coast reflector and other reflectors. And that is the phenomenon of kerchunking. People key up, listen for the repeater to respond, and think, oh, I'm into the repeater. Maybe not. Kerchunking is very bad operating practice, but a lot of people do it. There are some cases involving digital modes where you do have to kerchunk to keep the connection alive. That's a design flaw in the protocols. But if you're talking FM analog, there's never a good reason to just kerchunk a repeater because it doesn't tell you anything. If you want to see if you're getting into the repeater, key up, throw your call sign out there, and ask for a report. And, somebody will come back, give you a signal report, which may or may not be good. Don't know. But then you will know if you are making the repeater or not. Just listening for the repeater to respond to key up does not tell you a thing and is very, very bad operating practice. So avoid that. But kerchunking is caused by not understanding this asymmetry signals. So let me turn this back over to Kevin. Again, this is Charles, KC6 UFM. Back over to you, Kevin.
Great. Thank you very much for that, Charles. You obviously put a lot of time and effort into those, so we all appreciate that. And well done, as always. All right, the next portion of the East Coast Reflector TechNet is new users. We like to let anybody that's never checked into this net before get in up at the top if they'd like. You may have been on the Reflector before, or you may have been on other nets before. That doesn't matter. If you haven't been on this specific net before and you'd like to get up at the top, please come now with your call.
Kilo Juliet 5, Quebec, Oscar uniform, post time, Brian Texas.
Oscar, Foxtrot Delta.
I recognize KJ5QOU and the Oscar Foxtrot Delta. Could you come back with your full call, please?
Let's see.
Yeah, try it one more time. Oscar Foxtrot Delta only, please.
Pfizer Whiskey 2, Oscar Foxtrot Delta. Roger.
Yeah, WOFD. Joe, we did get you that time. Unfortunately, you checked into the net before, so I'll have to ask you to stand by for the general check-ins. Hold on just a second. So we'll go to Timothy, KJ5QOU. Good evening, Timothy. College Station, Texas. How many different call signs have you had?
Well, I just got my technician ticket about a week ago, so I've only had one.
Okay, Timothy, well, that's the most important one. Congratulations on getting your license, and I appreciate you checking in with us. We got Emmy on the text line. Talked to him earlier today, KA0SBP. Good afternoon again, Emmy. KE7K with the East Coast Reflector TechNet. How many different call signs have you had?
This is KA0SBP. I've only had one other call sign. The first, so total being 2. Thank you.
Yeah, 7-3 Emmy. Hope you had a good day at the lake and made it home safe. All right, well, once again, open for users new to the TechNet. If you have not checked into the before and you'd like to check in up here at the top, please come now with your call sign.
This is November Alpha 4 Delta Oscar, checking in from Orlando, Florida.
Whiskey Echo, Zero Echo.
Hotel Delta, checking in from Peppered Pines, Florida.
All right, let's hold it up there. I recognize the following 3 stations: NA4DO, WE0E, and KR4IHD. John, you got in there first. Welcome to the TechNet. How many different call signs have you had, John?
I am on my second. I passed my technician about a month and a half ago, and then I went through general and just recently extra. So this is a brand shiny new call sign for me.
Yeah, very good. Thanks for checking in, John. Stick around for the rest of the net, hopefully. Stephen, Sedgwick, Kansas, Whiskey Echo, Zero Echo. Go ahead, Stephen.
Yeah, good evening, everybody on the net. This is Whiskey Echo, Zero Echo, and you are correct, Sedgwick, Kansas. We're just a small town about 10 miles north of Wichita, Kansas. And yeah, this is my first time checking in on Echolink, or ever checking in. And I'm assuming the question of the evening is, how many call signs have I had? I got my first call sign novice in 1989, and then I got my technician, general, and advanced class all in the same setting. And I changed to a second call sign, then I went many years, and then once, because there's 20 words a minute, 13 words a minute, all that bad, but 20 was Cliff. Wow, I just couldn't do it. But when they dropped the code, I got an extra class. Now I'm on my third call sign, which is WE0E. So anyway, that's kind of a little bit about me. Back to you. This is Whiskey Echo, Zero Echo.
Right, 7-3, Stephen, got you down for 3 call signs. Appreciate you participating this evening, and checking in. Dan, Pembroke Pines, Florida, KR4I.
Good evening, everyone. It's Dan in Pembroke Pines, KR4IHD. I've only got the one call sign. I've played around with getting a vanity call sign, but I don't know. I'm a little invested in this one already. I've got, my wife's got a hat that has the call sign border in it, so I have to get a whole new hat and everything like that. It'd be way too much, but yeah. So right now, just that, just the one. So KR4IHD, back from that.
Yeah, Roger. Dan, yeah, it sounds like a bridge too far. Just enjoy the one you got. Thanks for checking in. Okay, on the text line, we've got David, KF8GTW, who is a new user. Anybody else that would like to get on the log? David, I'll come back to you in just a second. Anybody else that would like to get on the log as a new user this evening, please come now with your call sign.
KQ4LJD in Homosassa.
Kilo 5, Delta, first timer.
Okay, we had David, KF8GTW. We've got a second David, KQ4LJD, and the Kilo 5 station. Kilo, could you come again with your full call, please?
Kilo 5, Oscar Romeo Delta, K5ORD.
All right, good evening, John. K5ORD, got you on the log. We'll come back to you here in just a minute. First up is David in Toledo, Ohio, KF8GTW.
Well, let's see, I've only got the one technician license. I also have a GMRS license. I don't think that counts, but if it did, I'd have two, but I guess you could say one. Back to that.
I appreciate that, David. Thanks for tuning in. And one thing I love about our questions is there's always a little gray area in there, and interesting to see where people find it. I think that's completely valid. You gotta have a GMRS call sign. So, yeah, I guess we'll lump that in, and if people want to. Thanks for participating, David. To your other brother, David, KQ4LJD. How many different call signs have you had, David?
One technician, had it a couple of years, but that's it.
Well, have a good evening in Homosassa this evening. Thanks for checking in. John, Arlington, Texas, K5ORD. Good evening, John. How many different signs have you had?
K5ORD. Good evening. First time on the TechNet. How many call signs? Let's see. I'm going to reach back. I did have an CB license for the FCC, so that would be my first one. I got a GMRS license, so that's two. When I got my license, that would be three. I didn't like the call signs, so I got a vanity, so that would be four. Okay, thanks a lot for letting me play. K5ORD.
Sorry to interrupt. Just want to make sure you had me on the call log. I'm a little bit late. This is Kilo Romeo 4, Hotel Foxtrot Zulu. Name is Alex, Portland, Oregon.
Just want to make sure I was checking through the net. This is KE7K, your net control station for tonight's East Coast Reflector TechNet. We are currently taking check-ins from users that are new to TechNet. The station here in Portland, Oregon. Can you come back with your full call, please? Oh yeah, my mistake. The call is Kilo Romeo 4, Hotel Foxtrot Zulu. Yeah, KR4 HFZ. Good evening. Welcome to the net. How many different call signs have you had? How many call signs have I had? I technician license last year. So that was the one for me. Okay, Alexander, got you down as thanks for checking in. The East Coast Reflector TechNet is again open for any users new to this net. If you'd like to check in, please come now with your call sign.
K5ORD, question.
Yes, go ahead with your question.
Did you get the answer to my question that I gave over the air? Because as soon as I unkeyed, I heard another guy talking. It sounds like he was talking.
Yeah, I believe we did. John got you down as 4 in the log. Thanks for checking in. Any other new users? Users new to the TechNet, please come now with your call sign.
KA4RAK. Yes.
BFR.
Kilo Mike 7, Foxtrot Golf.
Hold it up right there for just a second. Let's see, Bob, KA4RAK, and Gina, KF7FFG. We're showing you guys have both checked in before, so if you can stand by for general check-ins coming up here in just a little bit, we would appreciate it. The Bravo Foxtrot Romeo station, BFR. Could you come back, call, please?
6, Bravo, Foxtrot, Romeo.
I still managed to miss again, but the 6, Bravo Foxtrot Romeo. Go ahead, give us your call one more time and answer tonight's question. How many different call signs have you had?
O6 BFR. My name's Kurt. I've had one call sign for the last 2.5, almost 3 years. I just got my general a month and a half ago, and I'm looking at changing my call sign either before or after getting extra license.
Very that time. Sorry, it took us a second. KO6BFR. Thanks for checking in. I'll make one more call. Final call for any users new to the TechNet. Please come now with your call sign.
KE5, BBG. Downhill, Cairo, Texas.
Mike 7 Echo Tango India.
All right, we got a couple things to work out here. I believe we got KM7ETI. Christian got you. The Kilo Echo 5 station, could you come back with your full call, please?
Yes, this is Kilo Echo 5 Bravo Golf on AT in Conroe, Texas.
All right, Donald, I got you that time, KE5BBG. Stand by for just a moment. ATF call sign. Could you come back with your full call, please?
KK4 ATF ATL ATL.
All right, KK4ATL, Alpha Tango Lima. Gotcha. We'll be back to you in just a second. Donald, you're first up, KE5BBG. How many different call signs have you had?
Right now, I only have one call sign. The call sign, that's it. I only have one call sign.
All right, got you down for one, Donald. Thank you for checking in. Larry, KK4ATL. Good evening, Larry. How many different call signs have you had?
Larry in West Palm Beach, Florida. 2 if you include the CB. As a matter of fact, I still have the actual paperwork for my first CB lot from the mid-60s. Back to you.
Very good, Larry. Thank you for checking in. And last new user for the evening is Christian, KM7ETI. Good evening, Christian. How many different call signs have you had?
This is my first and only call sign. I took my tech and my general at the same time and passed it. Going on about 2 months ago. And I haven't had a CB or a GMRS license. This is the only one.
Sounds good, Christian. We put you down for one. Thanks for checking in this evening. All right, this is KE7K. Myself, along with Roger, KO4QMM, will be your net controllers this evening. Vicky, as always, is doing a fantastic job on the logs. Appreciate that, Vicky. We will move on to the question portion of the East Coast Reflector TechNet. If you have an amateur radio-related technical question, please come now with your call sign. This is KE7K.
Mike 7, Fox Golf.
Hey, good evening. Again, Gina, appreciate your patience standing by. Hi, KM7FFG. Go ahead with...
Thank you, much appreciated, and apologize for the jump and checking in at the wrong spot there. So, question is, I've got 2 ham operators in the house, myself, my brother, and we both have 2-meter rigs, both Yaesus, and we have run into some desensitization issues if one of us is transmitting and the power is more than, say, on the low, so a 5 watt. So we could do 5, 25, or 50 watt on transmission. What we're hearing is, or not hearing, I would say, when operator 1 tees up, operator 2 cannot hear them on the rig, but it is going out, say, to a repeater or via simplex. We're adjusting it down a bit, and just thought I'd throw that out there and see if anybody had any other thoughts other than kicking my brother out and tell him to get a new place to put his radio. I'm kidding about that. Back to net. Thank you so much, KM7FFGD.
Yeah, okay, Gina. Charles has fielded this before, and I'm pretty sure the brother has to go, but let's see what Charles might have to input. KC6 UFM, you got any insight on this one, Charles?
Thank you, Kevin. Yeah, Gina, as Kevin said, the quick and easy solution is the brother goes. But in any event, God, that reminds me of an old Jell-O pudding commercial. Anyway, yeah, there really is not a whole lot you're going to be able to do about that because, it's not, desense really isn't quite the correct word. It's very, very similar, but what's happening is that one radio is overdriving the front end of the other on the receiver, and it's just overloading, and Yaesus are very well known for when that happens, they just more or less turn off the receiver where you can't hear hardly anything. There is also a risk of damaging the front end. So, kind of keep that in mind also. The only real solution is to keep cranking the power down. I'm assuming we're talking about having a 50 watt capability, that both of these radios have an outside antenna. Try and get more separation between those antennas, not only horizontally, but vertically. If you could put one up at, say, I'm just going to pick a number here, say 20 feet, and get the other one up to 35 or 40 feet, that will also help a little bit. But the real thing, you're not going to be able to do a whole lot with it, Gina. You, Kevin, KC6 UFM, back to net control.
Yeah, thank you, Charles. I'll pass it back to Gina for any follow-up she might have there, Gina.
Thank you for that. Yeah, I think taking the brother out is probably the way to go. So we've got one on first floor, one on the second floor, one antenna on one side of the house, one antenna on the other side of the house. But because we're fearful of what you stated, of blowing out the front end, what we've ended up doing is just my data to run the rig and or my net or my whatever I'm going to be doing, and you use Echolink. So, it's like when we were young, I guess. Just have to play nice with others. So just thought I would reach out. But thank you very much for just confirming what I think we sort of already knew. But, blowing out the front end is not something that's a good deal for anybody. So thank you, gentlemen. This is Gina, KM7FFG, and back to net. Have a good evening.
K4FXC comment.
Yeah, comment recognized, and I was going to actually ask a follow-up question of whether maybe instead of one of you one day and the other one working a different day, you could both work the same day, but one of you stays on the VHF and one stays on UHF. Maybe that would help. David, over to you, K4FXC.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. K4FXC, and I'll answer the question here tonight. I did a quick count, and I think I have had a total of 7 different licenses over my ham career, plus commercial, and so that's, I believe, the total count, including a CB license way back when. What I was going to suggest is maybe trying a different variety of radio. A lot of commercial radios have much, much better blocking dynamic range than ham gear does. I mean, the issue you're hitting here is blocking. The receiver's blocking. That's called the blocking dynamic range number. You also have an intermod dynamic range number, getting real technical. But and you can look in QST and see what those numbers are for various radios at their reviews. But certainly a lot of the older Motorola and GE gear and Kenwood as well had far, far superior numbers, compared to ham gear. And indeed, you could operate radios almost side by side with some impact, perhaps, but not major impact. So it's that would be another alternative, which again, that probably involve asking some folks around the area. Ideally, look at some of the older gear. Motorola Max Tracks come to mind. You might be able to find that are sometimes a dime a dozen, though they're not as good as some of the yet older gear that is out there back from yesteryear. But of course, you can buy new gear too, but it gets more pricey. But ham gear is notoriously bad for dynamic range, and commercial gear usually is substantially better, just by demand, basically, from customers. Just a few thoughts, K4FXC.
That's the dumbest thing I ever heard. Trying to run 2 VHF units at the same location with 2 antennas. Ah!
K4FXC. Just a quick comment to that. And of course, we do it all the time with repeater antennas, all the time. Usually you don't even need but maybe 40 or 50 feet of vertical separation. On VHF, 600 kilohertz split, one transmitter running 100 plus watts. Got it going right now. Works spectacular. So yes, it can be done. You just have to use caution. K4FXC.
Yeah, also, thanks for that, David. Unfortunately, I blocked that node, and they didn't get a logical explanation. They just can go live in their Yahoo. Appreciate it, David. East Coast Reflector TechNet is again open for any stations with an amateur radio-related technical question. Please come down with your call sign.
This is KR4, HFG from earlier. Just had a quick question. So I guess you kind of answered that, but what kind of things does the TechNet normally cover? And follow up with like an unrelated question. You said about like a vertical separation of antennas and stuff. Like, how would that work on repeaters? Is this like antennas radiate the signal in a certain way where if you do vertical separation, they interfere with each other, or like, how does that kind of thing work?
Yeah, KR4HF, I think that was you. I'll put you in the log here. Alan was in there first into ZVN. Alan, go ahead with your question, please.
Good evening, Kevin. Everyone on the net tonight. I heard David in there, so I know he can answer this one. I'm running a repeater with ham VoIP. Unfortunately, it's in simplex because it's a DR2X, and to keep things simple, I'm just using the DIN cable, which works nice. And my question is there any way to put a priority on transmit, where even if there's an incoming receive signal on a, if it gets transmit, if it can actually prioritize, allow that to happen? It's extremely difficult to get in on busy nets with a lot of check-ins and everything, and trying to find an open spot. Sometimes it frustrates the users. I understand that. But just looking to see if there's something I can change in ham VoIP to allow that. And and to answer the question, one call sign since 1994. I've had it this long, so why change it now? And to ZBN, back to you, Kevin.
Go ahead, David.
Yeah, K4 is actually getting back to my interface screen here. Yeah, yes, you can set several parameters, and right now during the TechNet, to keep it brief, maybe the best time to answer that would be after the net or in an email to me, but the answer is yes, indeed. You can set it so that you have network priority, so transmissions or communications coming in from the network basically get transmitted versus having the receiver open continuously. So it's that is indeed possible, and I can go through all the steps here, but this might not be the best time for it. K4FXC.
Station on Echo Link. Stand by there, please. Alan, into ZVN. I think you could drop David an email to get the specifics on that.
Yes, thank you very much. Yes, I would appreciate it. And I assume he's good on QRZ.
Yeah, K4FXC, yes indeed. Take a look at my QRZ, Kilo 4 Fox X-Ray Charlie, and you'll see the email address which will work for me.
Thank you very much. I greatly appreciate it. And I think there's a lot of other people that would like that too. Thanks again, guys. And to ZBN, back to net.
Okay, I think I got that broken record stopped there. Alan, thanks for the question. David, thanks for the input. Alexander, KR4HFZ, did you have a specific amateur radio related technical question?
What kind of what kind of modes get used most often that I could maybe get a chance to try out? Over.
I didn't copy the full question, Alexander. You were kind of popping in and out of the repeater. I got different modes. Are you talking about modes on HF or on VHF, UHF? What bands are you looking for information on modes?
Yeah, I was looking for information on VHF and UHF. Since I'm just a technician and don't really have much access to HF, what kind of digital not digital, but data modes get used most often on VHF and UHF server?
Yeah, that's a great question. Can anybody offer a comment on what are some of the most common types of data modes used on VHF and UHF?
K4FXC.
Yeah, go ahead, David. I was going to say something about slow scan TV, but I'm not sure actually how that's transmitted. Go ahead.
Yeah, slow scan TV is one possibility. Certainly, broad packet is one of the old ones that you heard on VHF and UHF, I guess 2 meters and above, which was like an old Hayes modem from 40, 50 years ago. So you'd hear 300 and 1200 baud FSK data for packet. Certainly any of the new 4 FSK modes, such as Fusion or DMR or any of these are all digital modes, and they can transfer data as well. They're all very prevalent on VHF, UHF. You can use for WinLink and other things. There are the new packet modems that are being used for the VARA FM, for example, which is very popular on VHF, UHF for data communications, for WinLink communications, etc. For weak signal, then you can get into even like the meteor scatter modes, the various WSJTX, I guess it is, like like 65, I think it is, and certainly FT8 and other modes. You can even run A31. You can run all the kinds of things you can run on HF. You can run on VHF as well. So you have depending on what you're wanting to do, there is really a large gamut of various modes. For example, during field day, heard quite a bit of FT8, and certainly a lot of FT8 on 6 meters. So that's super popular. But a lot of folks, when they get up to 2 meters and above, then you start thinking about either VARA FM these days, or standard 1200 baud or 9600 baud packet, or one of the other 4800 baud modes, which is common with DMR or Yaesu Fusion or similar. So the sky's the limit. Really, anything you want to experiment with, you can, and there's a lot used. As for the very most popular, I would say probably, except for those folks that are trying to work DX stations, is probably VARA FM these days, or 1200 baud packet like you'd have for APRS. Anyway, just a few thoughts. K4FXC.
Yeah, very good, Dave. I appreciate that input. Anything else, Alexander, that gets you on the right path?
A lot, so thanks. I know some of the lower speed modes are mainly on, and yeah, thanks for the inspiration, I guess. So that's cool that the do like faster baud. Definitely have to try like a digi-rig table or something. Picked up today. I'm ready. So I'll have to learn how to use that and hook it up and try it out.
W2SEM, quick question if somebody's available about an antenna.
Well, W2SEM, you jumped in at the right time with a question. Welcome to the East Coast Reflector TechNet. My call sign is Kilo Echo 7 Kilo. I'm the net controller at the moment. Stephen, go ahead with your question. W2SEM KE7K.
Yeah, thanks.
I put up a Diamond X50, and I had a question about grounding it. I know I have to ground the coax, and I have the device to do it, but I'm not sure if I have to ground the antenna itself or not.
Well, let's see which guru would like to pick that up.
KC6 UFM.
Guru Charles, go ahead.
Thank you, Kevin. The short answer is yes. You need to have safety ground on that. I'm assuming you're going to be putting it on some kind of a metallic pole or a tower or something of that nature. So, you can just clamp it to that and then ground that pole, and you're just going to take care of safety issues and that sort of thing, as well as the suppressor that you're putting into the feed line itself. And the short answer is yes, you do need to ground that. Back over to you, Kevin, KC6 UFM.
Yeah, thank you, Charles. Stephen, does that prove helpful for you?
Absolutely did. I really appreciate that. I had a feeling I had to ground the antenna, but I wasn't quite sure what that involved, whether it would be the pole or the antenna itself. So I do thank you for the information, sir. To SEM.
In Portland, Oregon, you're going to have to stand by. We're in a directed net here, and B, you're just not holding the repeater, and we're not hearing anything you're saying. So if you can stand by, we would appreciate it. The East Coast Reflector is open for anybody else with an amateur radio-related technical question. So please come now with your call sign.
Kilo Juliet 7, Quebec, Yankee Golf, Mick, No Tie, Oregon.
Yeah, KJ7QYG. Mick, good evening. I'm going to have to ask you where No Tie, Oregon is. I'm in Portland. And that one, I don't think I have ever seen that. I'm intrigued. Where is that, and what's your technical question?
The closest town to Notai, unincorporated, is Veneta. It would be between Eugene and Florence on the coast. My technical question is, I'm relatively new. I have my tech license. I have a 5100 ICOM, and I'm trying to use D-Star because it's supported by the 5100 ICOM. So I got registered. It was accepted, but no matter what, I seem to find a repeater in the area. The repeater book says one thing, but nothing goes through. I'm at a loss. And that question is it worth following D-Star, or should I be looking at something else, like Echolink? KJ7QYG, back to net.
Yes, thanks for the question, Mick. I'll throw it out to the group. The first portion, as far as good resources for finding D-Star repeaters, I assume you've contacted, you said you looked them up on a repeater book. Sometimes that's not always the most accurate, but if you have the call sign, certainly reach out to the repeater owner and make sure all that information is up to date on repeater book. But beyond that, anybody else have good resources for finding DMR information on repeaters? We may fail you here this evening, Mick. I'm sorry.
M0
Yeah, go ahead, Ross. N0MSS.
I'm not sure how involved he got into setting up his D-Star or his repeater that he was trying, but there's quite a few fields you have to fill out. Like mine is, I have to have an N0MSS-B, for instance, and an N0MSS-G, and you have to, there's a page that you have to go into your radio to set up quite a few fields in order to get it to work. And I use mine on a hotspot, but it could be used on repeaters as well. I don't have a repeater in my area, but from the you can access those repeaters or a bunch of D-Star talk groups like XLX 625, for instance, is just as a number. There's different room numbers that you can go into, and a lot of them are tied to repeaters or groups of repeaters. So I would say if he's just putting a frequency in and trying to talk on a D-Star, that's not going to work. So probably do some research on how to set up the radio properly to access a hotspot on D-Star maybe, or on a repeater, and that might give him more information. N0MSS.
Thanks for the input. Make any follow-up questions?
KJ7QYG. No, I have to do research on the hotspot. I thought I could easily just set up a D-Star, and it seems as though it's more difficult. I have found the B and the G, but I think I'm missing a step someplace in between. So we'll be following that through. I appreciate the information, though, and I will be do some further research on the hotspot. Thank you. Have a great net. KJ7QYG, back to net.
All right, 7-3, Mick. Sorry we couldn't give you a fixing answer, but good luck figuring it out, and thanks for participating. All right, we're again open for anybody with an amateur radio-related technical question. Please come now with your call sign.
KF8 GTWICJ, Kilo Echo 2, India Papa Juliet.
All right, good evening, David and Dean, KF8 GTW and KE2IPJ. David, you go ahead with your question first after you answer our question. How many different call signs have you had? KF8 GTW, KE7K.
I've had two, counting the one for DMRS and one for my technician license. So my question is, I'm wanting to set up a Raspberry Pi repeater, local repeater, and I'm pretty competent when it comes to electronics. I've been doing some research, and I just kind of wanted to get everyone else's opinion on what would be a good path to go down to build one. Back to that.
Very good. Well, before I pass it on to K4FXC, David, a couple follow-ups. Do you have when you say a repeater? What do you have in mind? A simple node or a duplex repeater? Do you already have radios that you're trying to interface, or starting completely from scratch to build a repeater?
Right now, what I'm really wanting to do is probably just a node, to be able to set up a node and connect, like for instance, my radio that I'm running off right now is just a RT95, and I'd like to be able to connect that through Echolink to get on with that. If for whatever reason I was having trouble with an antenna or something like that, I could always hook it up that way. That was kind of my thinking, my thought process there.
All right, very good. Well, I think we're going to have a good answer for you. David, K4FXC, would you mind going through some simple Pi node options?
Yeah, K4FXC. Yeah, what you're talking about is quite easy to do. You need you've got the radio or a radio. You need an interface cable, which allows you to supply the audio, the mic audio going to the radio, picks up the speaker audio coming from the radio, ideally at line levels, so that you don't want the volume knob on the radio to change the level going back to your node. You want that to stay fixed. So lots of times you can pick the audio up in a spot where it's one uniform line level, basically, or non-changing level. So you need an interface cable. Then you probably depending on how you want to set it up, usually you just plug that in via USB to the Pi and run whichever flavor of software you like. HamVoip it works great. ASL3 works great. There's other software for Echolink out there, which also will work. So there are a lot of different options available, just depending on what you're trying to get going to start with. If you want to build a repeater, building a backyard repeater is really easy as well. I mean, real full duplex repeater, using a pair of Bofang 888 HTs. In fact, I've got one sitting here on the bench right now that is going to someone as a backyard repeater. You set one up as the receive radio and one up as the transmit radio, again with the cable interfaces it together. You need 4 signals. You need the mic audio, the audio going to the radios, the audio coming from the radios, a PTT to turn the transmitter on, and a COS signal, ideally. Now you can run Vox as well in some cases, but ideally coming back from the receiver, saying when the receiver's active to tell the software when the receiver's active. Usually, literally, for a HamVoip node like that, and of course I do it pretty regularly, but it takes about 15 minutes to get one set up, literally 15 minutes. And it takes long. I usually say it takes longer to burn the image on the flash card than it does to actually set the node up. But again, I've set quite a few of them up. So it's but the Bofang 888 is a inexpensive radio on the order of maybe they're $15 a piece. The last ones I bought, I think, were $11 a piece. But, you have to open up, and there's some assembly is hard to get it set up. But the nice thing is that it's a great project from the aspect of a homebrew project that is inexpensive. And also, if you mess up, there's not much loss. You can start again. Just toss one and get another one and start back working with it. When you can run the transmitter into a dummy load, and the receiver, you can just use either the little whip antenna that comes with it or something else, and you'd be surprised how well that works. That'll certainly cover the whole, your whole yard and whole house and everything. So a lot of different ways. There are a lot of great construction articles. Yeah, to reset there so I don't time it out. And so a lot of great construction articles out there, and a lot of folks that have done this, and it's pretty easy to succeed. K4FXC.
Yeah, thank you very much, David, for the answer, and David for the question. David with the question. Any more questions?
No, that was wonderful information, and I will definitely be looking into that some more. I love to tinker, so it's great, and I'm not afraid to take anything apart, as was evident by my childhood bedroom. But anyway, that's great. I appreciate it so much. Thanks, both of you. 73.
David, thanks again for the question. Dean, appreciate your patience. KE2IPA, go ahead with your question.
Thank you very much. My question is, I'm very new to this. I've only had my license about 5 weeks now, and I need to install a vertical UHF VHF antenna on my roof, and I'm not capable of doing that at this point. If I was to hire someone to do it, is it possible to get a ballpark figure on what I'd be expected to be paying for something like that?
KC6UFM.
Go ahead, KE7K.
All right, thank you, Kevin. Yeah, Dean, that varies wildly, based on your location. And you're there in New York, and I'm actually here in Southern California near San Diego. So, the prices are crazy, and people here on the TechNet are all over the place. But, what my suggestion would be twofold. Number one, if you have a radio club there not too far from your location, or if you're a member of a club, talk to the people there. They may either have some leads on who could do this for you, or a lot of times in a club like that, a bunch of people just get together. They'll come over to your house, have a little antenna party, and get you up and going. Maybe buy them a Subway sandwich and some soda or something. But as far as hiring someone is concerned, check in your local area. I've always had good luck with finding TV antenna installers, although those guys are kind of becoming a vanishing breed. But a lot of them have transitioned over to satellite TV dish installers, and they might be able to come over and do it fairly inexpensively if they have a job in the area, or if they don't have a job right now to do, and willing to take a little bit of a discount. But my biggest suggestion, Dean, you need to get in contact with your local radio club and see if someone there would be able to come out and give you a hand with that. Back over to you, Kevin, KC6 UFM.
Yeah, thank you, Charles. Dean, good luck with that. Wish I could come help you, but I'm on the other side of the country, and I don't know what it costs to check a ladder. I'd come help you. Thanks for the question. Again, good luck. All right, anybody else with an amateur radio-related technical question, please come now.
Victor Kilo 4, Papa, Quebec, VK4, PQ with a comment.
Yeah, good. Oh man, good morning, Peter. Yeah, I'm gonna go with good morning, Peter. VK4 PQ. Go ahead.
Yeah, Kilo Echo 7 Kilo Victor Kilo 4 Papa, Quebec. It is morning still, 11:17 a.m. this way. Just a comment. You had one question there a while ago on DMR repeater information, and I noticed on radioid.net, that's radioid, all one word, .net, and they have on that site, that's where you get your repeater ID. On that site they have maps. If you navigate to maps and then zoom in on your location, find repeater information on those on that site. For example, I've zoomed into Gillett, Wyoming, and the repeater there is it has its ID, its frequency, the offset, the color code, what time slot it's on, talk group number, so it's a DMR ID number, 1566 for example, and description. So that information is available from radioid.net, and navigate through to the maps and zoom in on your location. Back to you, Kevin, Kilo Echo 7 Kilo VK4 PQ, over.
Okay, Peter, thank you for that. Yeah, that was Mick, KJ7QYG, with that question. Hopefully Mick's still listening and copied down the radioid.net. Put him on the map there, so to speak. Thanks for the comment, Peter. Okay, I'll make a final call for any amateur radio-related technical questions.
Alpha 1, radio mic.
Yeah, Rich, Port Richie, Alpha 1, Romeo Mike. Go ahead with your question, bud.
VHF side 147 decimal 420, scale tone 57, I believe. And the signal is very weak between S4 and S5 on the west coast of Florida. I just wanted to pass along a very interesting note if anybody's interested. That Midland, the CB company has their own software you can download a trade for your cell phone. It emulates a CB radio that goes through just like this, through various servers across the U.S. and Europe, and it's a free download. Basically, it's called, what is it called? It's called CB Talk. It's by Midland. Search Midland, you'll probably see their software you can download for free.
Okay, Rich, anything else? Do you have a technical question for the group?
K4FXC comment about that.
Yeah, please, Dave, go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to mention that I'm not familiar with that software per se, but I would guess that probably falls into the category of what is known as a POC radio, push to talk over cellular, and they are becoming all the rage. It is certainly replacing what had been the commercial market in 800 megahertz and 450. All over the United States, folks are, when they're replacing their radios, they're not going back with radios running in the business bands. They're going back with push-to-talk over cellular. So it kind of looks like a HT like you'd use on 800 megahertz or whatnot, but it's nothing more than a cell phone. And so that's one thing to be aware of is when you go with this technology, it's going to, most of the time it works fantastic. But certain events like storms and whatnot, when the cellular network gets overloaded, well, guess what? They don't work either. So it's it's a different technology. I mean, it's great from the aspect that it works anywhere. In general, if you get some of these services anywhere, you got one of those little devices. You can use it on the same carrier network. So somebody could be in California and somebody could be in North Carolina. You could both talk together like you're sitting, right in the same room, unless the network goes down. So you just have to remember that that the drawback, the limit is internet. That's the same with All-Star and everything else. It is internet, and if it goes down, it's not real radio. So it's great, cost-effective, but in my opinion, it's not a real replacement for real radio when emergencies happen. Anyway, just my commentary. K4FXC back to net.
I appreciate your commentary, Dave. Always have. Thank you very much. All right, I'm going to close up the question portion this evening. We'll move on to text check-ins. I'm going to work, let's see, there's 41, 52. So there's 12 of these. I'll work 6 of them, and then I'll pass it on to Roger for the rest of those and general check-ins this evening. I'll recognize the full list of what we got. KD2JPP, KK4SED, WA2UUS, KA8BYU, K6AAN, WB8ODF, KX9BBY, N6PPP, W2RBC, KF0SYV, W2AJR, K4ITA, and KI5PMI. All right, I'll work the first 6 of these. I'll work them down through Dave. WB8ODF will be my last one, and then we'll pass it over to Roger. Bob in Gallatin, Tennessee, you're first up. Bob, how many call signs have you had? KD2JPP, KE7K.
Hey, good evening, Kevin, and everybody else on the net. I have just kept with my one call sign that I got in the beginning. To me, it's like a name, so I like it, and I'm going to keep that one. So just one for me. Everybody have a good night, safe week.
7-3, Bob. Thanks for being a regular participant. Les, KK4SED, you're up next.
Claremont, Florida. I'm going to stick with one I've had good luck with it. Don't like to change. I'll keep it for, while I'm here on this earth. KK4SED, back to net.
Thanks for checking in, Les. Joel, Buffalo, New York. WA2UUS. Joel, are you still with us? WA2UUS. Nothing heard out of Joel. We'll move on to Roy, KA8BYU.
Oh, good evening, everybody on the Tech KA8BYU. The one, the only, the original FCC original call sign is what I've got. And even if I got my extra, I'm not changing it. It's going to stay. Plus, the BYU works wonders in pile-ups because everybody associates it with Brigham Young University. So, never going to change this one. Back to you.
Very good, Roy. Thank you for checking in. Mike, Valley Springs, California, K6AAN.
Well, good evening, everybody on the net, and affirmative on the vanity call sign. I changed that, about 8 months down from when I first got my license because I went to extra class right away, so changed it, and it's been that way for about 10 years, and I'm not inclined to change it again. That was enough. It was a process, and I like the one I've got now, so everyone have a great evening. This is K6AAN.
All right, 3, Mike, and my final station of the evening will be Dave in Ypsilanti, Michigan. Good evening, Dave, WB8ODF. How many different call signs have you had, buddy? All right, nothing heard. I'll say 7-3, everybody, and I will pass it to all knobs to the right, Roger, KO4QMM, for the rest of the text and general check-ins. 7-3, everybody. Roger, over to you, KE7K.
Well, thanks, Kevin. Pretty busy night there for you. And thanks, Vicky, doing great tonight, keeping everybody straight, K8BKY. And you're listening to KO4QMM, Roger, in Central Florida. I'll be your net controller for the rest of the evening. And our question tonight is, how many different call signs have you had? And if you just happened along here, you're listening to the East Coast Reflector Tuesday Night TechNet, here every Tuesday night. And if you go to eastcoastreflector.com, you'll see what we're all about. There's a lot of different nets, a Zoom room, and a lot of fun. So, on that note, let's just keep moving along here. Josh, Brownsville, Texas, KX9BBY. Good evening, Josh.
Good evening, Roger, Kevin, Vicky, and everybody else on the TechNet. Put me down for 3. I got my tech license back in December. Changed it a couple of weeks after that for the current one that I have, but I also have a GMRS license. So I've heard that someone count that in, so I'm also throwing it in. So it's 3 for me. This is KX9BBY, back to net. Good evening, everybody.
You have a great evening, too. Thanks for joining us, Josh. Chris, Maryland, N6PPP. That looks like a cool call sign.
Good evening, Roger, and everyone on the net. Yeah, I've only had my license since October of last year, but the first call sign I got, everyone, no matter if I did it phonetically or not, it would get messed up during nets, and I'd always get called by the wrong name, but never had the heart to correct it. So I just ended up making a spreadsheet of all of the call signs with 3 of the same letters at the end, submitted that to the good old FCC, and this is what I ended up with. So I've had 2, and I wish I had a cool story about why I got the one I had, but this happened to be the first one on the spreadsheet I submitted. So that's it for me. Throw it back to net control. This is N6 BP.
Good enough story for me, Chris. Sounds good. Have a great evening. Thanks for joining us. Randy, one of our team members here at the East Coast Reflector, Seneca, New York, W2RBC. How about it, Randy? How many different call signs do you have?
Good evening, Roger, Vicky, and everyone on the TechNet. I had 2 call signs, the original one and a vanity call sign that I'm using right now. Back to net control, 73 to all, W2, RBC.
Yeah, I've gotten quite used to mine, but I tell you what, it just seems a little bit long sometimes in them pilots. Have a great evening, Randy. Galen, Woodside, Iowa, K5 or KF0SYV. Good evening, Galen.
Roger, Peggy, and everyone on. I don't know if you count them all or not. I'm going to go with 4. I had a CB license back in the day, back in the late 50s, early 60s. Then I had a business band radio call sign assigned to me with my work, and I presently have a GMRS and my present call sign for amateur radio. So I'm going to go with 4. KF0SYV 73, back to net control.
Vicky put 4 of them down. I don't know if I would have added the CB when yuck. Have a good evening, Galen. Andy, Cheektowaga, New York, W2AJR. Good evening, Andy. How many different call signs have you had?
Good evening, Roger, everybody in net. Well, if we're going back to the beginning of time, I had 2 for the CV, one that you got before you got your license, and then one with the license. Then I've had 2 amateur radio call signs, and then I've got a GMRS license. So I guess that makes 5 with the new man. Thank you, Roger, 7-3.
Thanks, Andy. You have a good evening. Leo, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, K4ITA. Good evening, Leo.
Good evening, Roger. Good evening, Vicky and Kevin. And I would say 3. The first one was 1980 in Italy Kilo 1 Oscar Delta. After 15 years of CB, and well, at the time, no CW, no license, and also for the CB, we had to ask a permit at the police station, believe it or not. And then we moved forward 2010 when we moved to United States in 2002, a bit of leave of absence. 2010 KJ4YPT changed to Kilo 4 India Tango Alpha. Everybody, a good night. It was a very interesting night tonight. Bye-bye. Back to you, Roger.
I think Vicky got them all in there, and that is a cool call sign right there. Sticks right out. Have a great evening. Bill, Hobbs, New Mexico, KI5PMI. Good evening, Bill.
Good morning, Roger. Good evening, Roger, and everybody. And I have two. I have my KI5PMI, and then I have a GMRS. Hope everyone has a good night. KI5PMI. Back to net.
Evening. Thanks for joining us. My buddy Joe, East Lip, New York, K2AP. That's got 2 or 3 there, Joe. Good evening.
Good evening, Roger and Vicky and everybody on the net. And Roger, I didn't do the 13 colonies. I'm sorry about that. But I had 4 call signs. In 1967, I got my novice. Then further on down the road, I got my tank and general in the same night. And then a few weeks later, I got my advanced. And then finally, I got the extra with the 20 words a minute Morse code. So that's the story over here from K2AP.
Right on, Joe. Yeah, I got the 13 colonies, just needed that Great Britain one, but man, I tell you what, that guy gets in such a pile up. And that'll probably be our questions Randy and I'll have on the 20-meter net Thursday. And this is KO4QMM Roger. You're listening to the East Coast Reflector Tuesday night Tech Net here 8 o'clock every Tuesday night. Eva, Glen Burnie, Maryland. KC3ZLR. Good evening, Eva. How many different call signs have you had?
Hello, this is KC3ZLR, and I have 1 call sign, but I have used 3 call signs. One which I have my dad's call sign, and also at a field day I've also used their call sign, but I have 1 call sign. So this is KC3ZLR, and
You got it, Eva. Have a great evening. Thanks for joining us. Andrew, Glen Burnie, Maryland. K680. That looks like a good call sign there. Good evening, Andrew.
Thank you very much, Net Control. Good evening to the TechNet and everyone listening. Thank you. I've had 3 call signs. My first call sign was K6PTF, which I got about 30 years ago. And then I got a first vanity call sign, which is KW6RAT, because that's a nickname from Bioman, was the road into the Ratman. But then I settled on the vanity call for just my initials, so K680.
Right. Thanks for joining us, Andrew. Steven inside the Zoom room here tells me, I ought to get one. And not long after that, Vicky came up with a pretty cool one for me. I looked it up, and it's a silent key, so might have to check into that one after a little while, or some others, so who knows. Here's my buddy Joe, KO4FRR, Florida. Good evening, Joe.
Howdy, neighbor. This is Joe, KO4FRR. I'm going to have to say 1 because I don't think I could change my call sign after 5 years. It's going to be hard, but I don't think no one's going to allow me to do that. This is Joe, KO4FRR. Back to you, Roger.
Yeah, maybe we could switch call signs. That'd stir things up, huh? Thanks for joining us, Joe. You have a good evening there. Darren, Portland, Oregon, I think, K9KDA. Good evening, and how many call signs have you had?
From Kilo 9, Kilo Delta in beautiful Portland, Oregon.
It's 80 and sunny here, and I'm on call sign number 2. If somebody went to QRZ.com and looked up K9KDA, they would see the inspiration, a 60-pound Shar-Pei dog named Coda. Back to net.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I might have to have Vicky talk to her AI friend and see if it can come up with something there. I know Mike, I haven't heard from Micah in a while. He did something like that, came up with a really cool call sign. Here's another cool one coming up, W2EM, Chuck from Lancaster, New York. Good evening, Chuck. How many different call signs have you had?
Good evening, Raj and Vicky and the rest of the group here tonight. Call signs, you can put me down for 5. I think I had about 5. The first one was a marine radio back in the day, and then I had 1 or 2 CB call signs, so put me down 1 for that. And then I had my ham, my emitter, and my vanity, and also a GRMS, so I think 5. And I did a clean sweep on the 13 colonies, and you said that at Great Britain, I had to crawl through the wire to get that one. It was tough. Anyway, back to net, W2EM.
Awesome. Congrats, and hopefully we'll hear from you on the 20-meter net. You always sound good. Thanks, Chuck. Fred, Reno, Nevada, K7 FPS. Good evening, Fred. How many different call signs have you had?
Hey, Roger, Vicky, Kevin, and everyone else. I'm going to include my old CB call sign KBIG 489. Anyway, back to you, Roger, K7 FPS.
I guess Vicky put it down. Thanks, Fred. You have a good evening there. Kenny, now here's another cool call sign. A lot of the cool call signs are coming out tonight. WWON. Good evening, Kenny. Kenny, the story on that call sign, WWON. Oh, Kenny, you're going to keep everybody in suspense. We'll ask you next week. All right, that's it for the text check-ins. Now we're ready to take in some general check-ins and mobiles, in and outs. Try to spread them out pretty evenly there for Vicky. Come in with your call sign twice and slow.
Kilo 2, Charlie Mike Tango, K2 CMT.
KG4 WHO, KG4 WHO.
N2BH, N2BH.
Kilo Charlie 3, Foxtrot Golf Delta. Kilo Charlie 3, Foxtrot Golf Delta.
VPK, KB3, VPK.
W4FWN, W45 Whiskey November.
KR4N0N, KR4N0N. N2ZWR, N2ZWR.
This is 9 Yankee Delta X3. 9Y4 DX. Bertram.
My goodness, was that orderly there. Imagine if it was like that on the morning brew, Vicky. All right, from the bottom up here, and you're listening to KO4QMM, Roger in Central Florida. Bertrand, 9Y4DX, Trinidad and Tobago. N2ZWR, Dan, Radford, Virginia. K4 or W4FWN, Dan, Stanford, Florida. WWON, Kenny, Germantown, Maryland. KB3VPK, Mary, Easton, PA. KC3FGD, Ray, Elizabethtown, PA. N2BH, Bill, Palmyra, New York, one of our team members. KG4WHO, Daniel, Winchester, Winchester, Virginia. There you go, Raj. And that's it for this list. And let's go to the top. How many different call signs have you had? And I was just teasing Mike there. I got you on the list there, Mike. He was thinking, man, did he skip me? K2CS. Good evening, Mike.
There you go, Jill.
Good evening, Roger. I knew you didn't skip me. You're just an old leg pour if ever was one. I've had 3 or 4, I guess, Roger. CB, ham, the one issued to me by the FCCO when I first got my tech license. And then I switched immediately to a ham vanity, which is the one I'm holding now. And the boat, marine radio, your boat is your call sign, so I can't count how many I've got there. And only one ever tried to sink on me, so never had to use it for an emergency. Everyone have a good evening. This is Mike, K2CMT in DeBerry, Florida. And Dan down there in Sanford, we're going to have to get together and meet up sometime. 73, guys.
You have a great evening there, Mike. And we changed your name in Zoom room to Mike Tango. That's your last name now, Mike Tango. You know how mine is always Roger Clear? Well, there you go. Daniel, KG4WHO. I don't know if that's a fancy call sign or not, but it's pretty cool. Good evening, Dan.
Well, good evening, Roger and Annette. My answer is 1. This one. It was issued to me 20-some years ago, and I ordered a stack of a lot of QSL cards. So when I got the QSL cards from the print shop, I realized what a grave mistake I had made, and then I decided to never change my call sign again. So there you go. KG4WHO. Back to that.
Good story, Daniel. Thanks for joining us, and have a great evening. Bill, our team member here, keeps us net controllers all straightened out, Palmyra, New York, N2BH. Tell us about that fancy call sign, Bill.
Good evening, Roger, Vicky, Kevin, everybody. As far as ham radio, I've had 2, my original and this one, and I was trying to find something with my initials, but this is as close as I could get to it, staying in the 2-call district, and that's what I have, and I think I'm going to stick with it. And of course, I had over the years a couple GMRS ones, back in the CB one, and I won't tell you how many different ones I had for law enforcement. And 2BH.
Hey, Bill, have a great evening. Now to Mr. Green Jeans, Ray, Elizabethtown, PA, KC3, FGD, Did you come out of the garden for a while to join us? How many different call signs have you had, Ray?
Yeah, I just came out of the garden a couple of hours ago. Those hot chili peppers are coming along. Dragon's Breath, Carolina Reapers, and what have you. Have them all. Just the one here for ham radio, however, I hear guys throwing out their CB call letters, and I got mine in 1961, 2Q2459. You look it up, it's still there. Everyone have a wonderful evening. Back to Nick.
Always enjoy talking to you too, Ray. You have a wonderful evening there. Let's move on to Mary, Houston, PA, KB3VPK. Good evening, Mary.
Good evening, everybody. I've only had one call sign, KB3VPK, and I grew fond of it. So I don't need to change it. Back to you, KB3VPK, the one and only.
You know what? I think a lot of us listeners get used to each other's call sign too. And I've always liked that call sign. Mary, you have a good evening. Back is Kenny from Germantown, Maryland, WWON. Are you going to tell us about that call sign, Kenny?
I will do my best this time. I think my radio died last time. Anyway, I have three. I started off with K4RQF down in North Carolina. I got this one, Whiskey 0 November, when I moved to Minnesota for about a decade. And then when I came down here to Maryland, somehow the FCC reassigned me a systematic call sign, which then I had to reapply for my vanity call sign back to Whiskey 0 November. Long and short of that one is three call signs, and I'm very happy with the one I have now. So back to that. Thanks, Roger. You're doing a great job. This is Whiskey 0 November.
Thanks for coming back, Kenny. I always hate losing contacts. Thought maybe the pizza guy was there or something, but yeah, I was thinking that's pretty cool DX call sign there. Whiskey 0 November. Pretty easy. Thanks again. Dan, Sanford, Florida, W4SWN. Good evening, Dan.
Well, good evening, Roger, and everyone else on the net. This is W4FUN. I've had three calls. One when I lived in Maryland, K3IZI. Very glad I got rid of that one. And W4FWN I picked up whenever we moved to Florida. And I have one more. I have a GMRS call that I've just picked up recently. Very good. Back to net control. This is W4FWN.
Yeah, I'm glad I wasn't assigned a tongue twister out there. There are definitely some tongue twisters, and I've been very successful with that Quebec Mike at the end. Thanks again, Dan. Have a good evening. Another Dan, Radford, Virginia, N2ZWR. Good evening, Dan. How many different call signs have you had?
Good evening, Roger. Everybody else on the net tonight. Well, I think I qualify for two, but I'm not sure. The N2 was my original call sign when I was originally issued my license back in the 90s. I allowed it to expire. I retested a year or two ago. I was given a KR4 call, and then I applied back for my vanity call of my original, which is the N2ZWR. So I'm assuming that that's two, Roger. Back to you.
Another good call sign. Thanks, Dan, for joining us. And the end of this list again, my buddy Bertrand in Trinidad and Tobago, 9Y4DX. And I did look up another one that I thought was pretty cool with DX at the end, but somebody got that too. So, dag nabbit. Good evening, Bertrand. How many different call signs have you had, my friend?
QMM net control, Kevin. Roger. Sorry, Roger. This is 9Y4DX. Bertrand calling from Trinidad and Tobago, Caribbean. Well, let me say a pleasant evening to all of the stations on the East Coast Reflector TechNet this Tuesday evening, July the 7th. Hope everyone is doing well and staying safe. Well, Roger, I just had 2 call signs when I passed the exam for amateur radio license. I got the call sign 9 Zulu 4 Delta X-ray. And when I got the advance on the license, it was changed to 9 Yankee 4 Delta X-ray. So I moved from the Zulu to the Yankee. And that's it from me. Hope everyone has a pleasant evening and a wonderful week ahead. Back to you, Net Control, Roger, KO4QMM. This is 9Y4, D.
Always a pleasure, my friend. Thank you and have a wonderful evening. All right, this is KO4QMM Roger in Central Florida, your net controller for the East Coast Reflector Tuesday Night TechNet. Check out eastcoastreflector.com. You'll see what we're all about. Lots of different nets. We have a lot of fun. All right, come twice and slow if you'd like to get on the list and answer the good question of the evening.
November 8, Whiskey, Julie Lima, N8WJL, Joe in Detroit. Kilo, November 6, Golf, Sierra Golf. Kilo, November 6, Golf, Sierra Golf.
W2KJV, W2KJV.
KA4JAZ. Excuse me, KA4JAZ.
All right, things are slowing down fast here. Been an exciting night, though. Let me see who we got here. KA4JAZ, Alton, Midlothian, Virginia. W2KJV, Tony, Homosassa, Florida. N4SIM, Simon, Kentucky, or Connecticut. KN6CGS, Weenie, Denair, California. N8WJL. Boy, everything's starting to blend together here. Coffee, tell you. All right, Jay, it's up to you. Detroit, Michigan, N8WJL. How many different call signs have you had, Jay?
One and the only one. What I like about my calls that a couple of my friends made up, I can use it. I use my, when I'm coming in, I say November 8th, we just landed, or November 8th, we're just leaving. I made a shirt up like that and, went to Dayton. They sort of liked it that. They're good.
Oh, yeah, around amongst friends, ain't nothing wrong with it. Jay, have a good time, and thanks for joining us. KN6CGS, good evening, and how many different call signs have you had? KNCGS, you there?
I think it was KN6GFG, Kilo November 6 Golf, Sierra Golf.
Oh, that rarely happens, a mistake like that. Okay, good evening, Barry, Moss Beach, California. Sorry about that. KN6GSG. Good evening, Barry. How many different call signs have you had?
No greetings, Rod, and Vicky. I have 4 government-issued call signs. My first one is the amateur sign, or we call ham radio sign. I have a restricted radio operator call sign. I have a ship recreational call sign, and of course it's GMRS call sign. The restricted operator call sign has 10 characters, and I would never be able to even say them over a microphone. And that's it. So thank you for getting me. KN6GSG, back to net.
Almost caught up with the record there. I think the record's 5. So thanks for getting in there, Barry. Have a great evening. Bolton, Connecticut, N4SIM. Good evening, Simon. How many different call signs have you had?
Good evening. I've had 3 so far. I had my original, which was a call sign that was 1 letter different than someone else that tested with me that lived a few miles down the street, so we were in constant confusion. I've had my new vanity sign, which is the first 3 letters of my name, and then my GMRS.
All right, man. Yeah, that works. I like that call sign, too. Nice and simple. Here's another one. Tony, Homosassa, Florida, one of our team members there at the East Coast Reflector, W2KJV. Good evening, Tony.
Good evening, Roger. Sounding great tonight. I've had 4 call signs, a CB, my 2 ham calls, and 1 GMRS. Hope everyone has a great night. Back to you, Roger. W2KJV.
Thanks for joining us this evening, and thanks for what you do for the ECR. And last on the list, Middle Ocean, Virginia, Alton, KA4JAZ. Good evening, all.
Good evening, Roger, and everyone else on the Evening TechNet. Yes, over the years, I've had 2 U.S. call signs, 1 German call sign, ham radio call sign, and 3 U.S. Army Mars call signs. So I guess that's 6 call signs? My last call sign, and I got this one here, vanity call sign. I was, years ago, I was into the legend of King Arthur and the sword, Excalibur. So, the first 2 letters, King Arthur. And I was in the 4th group, so King Arthur 4, J-A-Z, jazz, because I'm a listener of jazz. So, King Arthur for jazz, and that's what I do on when I do DX. So, back to you, Roger, KA4JAZ.
Well, I think you're on the leaderboard there with 6, Alton. Pretty cool story. Thanks for joining us. Have a great evening. And looks like we're at the checker flag here. Anybody else like to get in on the logbook? Come to your call sign.
K680S, I have a correction. I didn't count my international call sign.
Well, oh my goodness, get them in there.
My mistake. I have operated in a few other countries, but I was able to use my call currently have a Japanese call sign until the end of the year. JLYHHY. JL1HHY. I don't use it very often, but I forgot my international call sign. How could I forget that? Anyways, thanks again. K680S.
Yeah, I wouldn't have forgot that one. I love talking to Japan, and those are very cool call signs. Yep, and that German one too, that'd be very cool to have. Anybody else want to join us this evening? Come to your call sign. We're ready to wrap it up.
5 Golf Sierra Sierra, KA5GSS, Shane in Lake City, Texas.
KR4HPQ, Kilo Romeo 4, Hotel Bravo, Quebec.
Kilo November Uniform K5 YNU, Florence in Conroe, Texas.
All right, we're getting down to the last call here. We got Florin, K5YNU from Conroe, Texas. We got KR4HBQ, Neil, Durham, North Carolina. And we got KA5GSS, Shane, League City, Texas. Anybody else? Last call.
KM70, Arizona, Texas.
That KM7, I know as soon as I ask, Vicky will pop it up there, but that KM7, when you come back and we need your suffix.
Charlie, Bell, Charlie, AKA, Benjamin from Tempe, Arizona.
All right, looks like we got 4 to end the evening here at the East Coast Reflector Tuesday Night TechNet. I am your controller, KO4QMM, Roger in Central Florida. And we got Benjamin, Tempe, Arizona, KM7CDC. You're a little bit quiet there, Benjamin, so maybe you can speak up a little bit. Shane, League City, Texas, KA5GSS. I like that call sign. How many different call signs have you had there, Shane?
Everybody on the net, thanks for running it there, Roger. Doing a good job. This is KA5GSS. I just have the 2. I got my technician license, and then I got a vanity license, and the reason I swapped it is the last 3 of the call sign are exactly my late father's initials, Gary Stephen Sterling. So in his honor, I kept that call sign, and I'll never change it. Hope everybody has a great one. KA5GSS, back to next control. 7-3, everybody.
Golf Sierra Sierra. It has a ring to it, Shane. I wouldn't change a thing. Have a great evening for joining us. KR4HBQ, Neil, Durham, North Carolina. Good evening, Neil.
Good evening from Bull Durham. I have 2. I have my KR4HPQ as well as I have a GMRS call sign. So this is KR4HPQ. Back to net control.
Thank you. Have a great evening, Neil. And Florin, Conroe, Texas, K5YNU. I seen you in the Zoom room there. Good evening, Florin. And how many different call signs have you had?
Good evening, Roger, Vicky, everyone on the net. Well, besides this one, I had my first KJ5 HRZ, and this is my vanity one. So, yeah, 2 in total so far.
Back to Night Control, everyone. Have a blessed evening. K5YNU.
You have a great evening, Flora, and thanks for joining us. And last on this evening's list, Benjamin, Tempe, Arizona, KM7CDC. Good evening, Benjamin, and how many different call signs, my friend?
Well, I found the microphone. You change HCs, you don't know where the microphone port is. I think I'm not in the right spot now. I'm going to be a letdown for the last one here. Just to, I've got KM17DC, and I've got GMRS, WSGQ858. I'm going to make a joke about the Frank Ernest thing, but end of long kiss good night. Well, there. Just the two. This is Benjamin KM7CDC.
What a good place to end the evening. Thanks, Benjamin, for joining us. And he was number 70 on 7/7/2026. So a lot of sevens in there, and also a 7 in his call sign, KM7CDC. That's it. I want to thank everybody this evening. Thanks, Vicky, KABKY, for doing some great logging. And Kevin, VE3BZ, Charles, KC6UFM. Welcome back, Charles. Good to hear you. Kevin, KE7K, for a great beginning of the Tuesday night TechNet. And that's about it. Thanks for joining us tonight. A lot of first-time check-ins, too. Again, that was awesome. Tomorrow night, 8 p.m., open mic night. A lot of fun there all the time. And I think there's a new pop-up thing going on Friday night at 8. We'll have to check that out. Thanks to all for tuning in to the net this evening. Turn the reflector back to regular amateur use. This is KO4QMM. For now, anyhow. 7-3.